You claim you're alive, but I think you're probably just dead. Alright, welcome everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop, episode 31 for...
What the heck is that?
James.
Oh, the clock in James's house.
Anyway, we're going live for if you've been to Discussing Tabletop, you know this is what's the par for the course. Anyway, welcome to Discussing Tabletop, episode 31 for July... Oh, sorry. Oh my god. June 3rd, 2017.
We're coming from the future! We're coming from the future.
Don't respect sleep.
Who's back? James, is it you still?
I was on mute.
Something's going on, but okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. So today is a big day. We got a bunch of topics on Magic. We got a couple other role-playing game topics to go on. First off, I do have some special guests here. I have, of course, Joe. I have James, whose belated return from one of our very early episodes. So he's one of our early guests. And I have Matt here, or the at Scrapper Ferret, who is going to be participating in the Magic Art Show in GP Vegas. So I wanted to talk to him a little bit about the Magic Art Show and GP Vegas. I also do want to talk about Commander Anthologies because they're showing it off. And I just want to talk a little bit about the Anthologies series in general. I then want to talk about the spoilers for Hours of Darkness. I'm sorry, Hours of Devastation. I'm trying to call it Hours of Darkness because... reasons. Anyway... Then we'll talk about Pathfinder, Legacy of the First World. I want to talk about that a little bit, which will be an interesting one. Exalted, Tomb of Darkness, which is it's like an intro pack, but different. And finally, I'm going to end it with Conan the Thief, because I don't want to torment Joe with any other topics, and there was a couple I could have chose from that probably would have tormented him.
No My Little Ponies.
They put out a sample adventure! The thing is, we talked about it before, and it's good to know for those people with younger people that you want to learn how to roleplay. You could have them try the sample adventure, especially if you're not an expert DM.
There, now they know there's an example adventure. I think that's enough.
Alright, anyway. So, I do want to start out with, though, let's start with the Magic Art Show, because I want to talk about this one, because this is something that I think is really interesting, and we've talked about magic art before a little bit, but I wanted to dive into what's going on with the show. You know some things about this, right, Matt?
Yeah, actually, I'll be working at it. It was put together by some people who really are big into the art community, like Mike Linneman and Josh Krause, to give more of an exposure to the art that gets put into this this entire community and the universe. I've had the pleasure of meeting some of the artists at some of the GPs, and you look at some of the things that they sell and they put together. But to have all of this, I'd say, constructed in a more formal environment where you can actually really get up close to a lot of these original works. And talk to the artists to really get, I'd say, immersed in the universe is pretty wild. It's something I never even considered anything like this at a GP. But with Vegas being so big, having such an immersive universe, it's like sometimes I've gone. I'm not actually a really skilled player, so having the ability to interact with the community in different ways, I think's really important. So having this available for everyone to go and check out, I think is absolutely fantastic.
No, it looks really cool, and the fact is, like me and Joe have mentioned it on the show before, especially with, as we've been doing the show and new sets and stuff come out, that the art has been killing it. Not that I haven't been always impressed with the art in the past. I'm gonna forget her name correctly, but she's the one that did Shivan Dragon and Nightmare from Unlimited. It's Melissa something or other, and I know I can figure it out. but I loved all the art she did back in Unlimited. You know,
Right.
and the fact is, like, there's always been this. The artists themselves, I feel like, definitely reserve the respect because they bring the cards to life, and some of these cards have such like intricate arts, and they're just so amazing, you know. And that definitely, this is a great way of showing it off.
Absolutely. With this show, the way that it's being set up, and like I said, I kind of got pulled into this a little later than I expected. I was originally going to go before, then some things happened with the house, and I'm going, okay, well maybe I can't go, and then I managed to plan it out and get involved, and then see this all come together. So the way that it's being laid out is there are going to be 4 different planes that you can walk through. That's been all constructed. So the new Amonkhet set is involved. Mirrodin is involved. So I think the way that one's constructed is it'll be the pre and post fall with the Phyrexians, Innistrad, and then the Ravnica. So each one has its own little section, and within that there will be cosplayers working as the characters.
James, is that you?
No noise is being made.
It's not me.
Okay.
Sorry about that. There's
That's fine.
there'll be characters there to guide you through each section, and to be actually there to interact with the people as they come through.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's also a very interesting thing too, that you got, like, because you got to the stretch goal there that you could do that. That was really cool.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, by $164, like in the last waning moments. That was
I
actually
contributed a couple of those bucks there. I couldn't give a lot, and I knew I wasn't going to be there, but I'm like, you know what? I can throw a few bucks your way, guys, your way, and this seems like a very awesome thing. So, So I'm glad that you guys managed to get it, because it seems like you've definitely set up for a very cool show.
Yeah, wow, I'm at a loss for words right now, which is really unusual for me. Watching it all come together, and how they constructed the background behind it, and it's extremely detailed. So if you actually went to the Kickstarter site, you can see here's how much money we would need for this, for the furnishing, for the shipping, for the insurance, and there's so much behind it that I think the everyday person who would show up and go, wow, this is really cool, what actually goes into this, because I'm looking at the breakdown right now. So like I said, they got furnishing, they have shipping, there's insurance, the travel, the framing and marketing behind it, and then all the benefits that and perks that are available are really spectacular, and they really put out some incredible stuff. So there's exclusive tokens, the enamel pin, the playmat. I don't know if you've seen the art for the playmat, but my goodness, that's a really neat piece. And if I weren't going, I would have easily just shelled out just for that right up front. Go, here, take my money and give me a bunch of these. Which is also really cool. And we've also included a this is gonna be wild. I'm curious to see how this goes, but a cosplayer happy hour for people who contributed $150 or more. I'm sure I'm sure if I go and Jace, some people will tell me what's really on their mind. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be really a cool one. And thanks, Elise. Elise, nerd stuff. Yes. This is accurate, but that's fine. We can accept this.
Nerds.
But no, like a lot of these, like that's one of those things. Is I love the world settings, and this is definitely the way that it gets brung to life, and putting it all together in one place in the respect that a lot of the people do to make it is very cool. I'm very I'm very happy to see it, kind of thing. It's as I was talking, because there is that level of everyone that's going to be cosplaying there. As I was talking to Ariel, it's like I'm really happy about the fact that we have Magic the Gathering cosplayers, because that's something when I started going to anime conventions, I would have not expected,
Right.
We started out with the anime, and then we got to the comic books, and now it's getting into aspects of the culture that I'm very happy for. That you have people doing D&D characters and Magic the Gathering characters and things like that, and it excites me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stumbled into Magic cosplay itself. I'd started out in the anime realm, first, and I can't even remember why I decided to do Jace. I'd only been in Magic since, oh my gosh, what was it? Journey into Nyx.
Okay.
So that was about 3 years ago now. And on a whim, because like I said, I'm not spectacularly good at the game. I'm okay. If you get me into a sealed environment, I can hold my own. But when I get into more formal settings, I've had my lunch handed to me more often than I'd like. But I really kind of gravitated towards blue because I'm a jerk blue deck player. I'll just flat out say it. My first deck was it was a horrible deck to play against. Azorius Control with the Sphinx's Revelation into Elixir of Immortality, and I think I had just the one Aetherling creature. It was absolutely appalling to play against. I had more than one or two people just look at me and roll their eyes and go, are we NSFW or do we go all out here?
I used to be definitely the jerk player. I had a friend who ran a small tournament in his house during a party, and the one round was you get a point for every point of damage you did, and I played a Plague Rat deck.
Oh,
no, Pestilence deck. You paid the Pestilence deck.
Yeah, sorry, Pestilence deck, which had
I was gonna say that the Azorius deck I had made one for Return to Ravenica that was my Detainment deck, which Joe can attest to is kind of a jerk thing too. It's you want to act? Too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I want the T-shirt with just the blue mana symbol on it, and it just says nope. But like I said, as I pull out that deck, I've had eye rolls and like I said, people just look at me and go, "Oh, bleep this," and it's like,
See, the thing is that reminds us of our friend who's got infamous decks that when he brings out the deck, we have to be like, we know what we're expecting from this. It's like, God damn it, he's gonna be like that every time because how could you not plan against my deck as soon as I start it, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Time Warp deck that he can get infinite turns.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I kind of just on a whim, my partner Jen, she's really the brains of our cosplay operation. There's some things I can do some fabrication, I can do some painting, but when it comes to the sewing and the planning and manufacturing of everything, she's just so far beyond whatever I can comprehend. And we blasted that costume out in pretty short order. And I honestly never considered it would have, taken me to events like this and meeting some of the people that I've met, like MJ. She reached out to me initially and said, "Hey, your Jace costume's really cool. I'd like to do a collab with you." And I'm looking at Jen going, "Are you kidding me? What is this all about? This is great." And I've gotten to talk with Ariel. Yeah, I've met, hung out with her at Portland, and if Christine Sprankle, she's been really instrumental in me getting involved. But there's so many other people that are involved with this art show and are also going to be working at the art show.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning, and I'll actually say humbling in the fact that we're being included like this, because at some GPs you might see a couple of cosplayers walking around, you might see a couple at tables, but this is just far beyond what we've been involved with before, and just being included in the art show itself is just incredibly cool.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely seems like this is going to be a fun event, and, well, GP seems to be like the big event anyway, that everybody's ramping up for. So it's definitely a cool one. And I think we'll touch on a little bit more of this next week with our guest for next week. We'll kind of touch more on like what kind of art and stuff is going to be there a little bit more. But why don't we move on though, and why don't we talk a little bit, because you have experience with GPs in general. You haven't been to. You said you haven't been to Vegas yet, so this is gonna be your first Vegas. But you've been to you've been to Grand Prix before, and I don't think we have a lot of folks.
Prix.
Damn it! I did it again. Oh God! I did it.
It is not male genitalia.
Grand. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Grand Prix before, and I want to talk a little bit about them and your experience with that, because I know it will reflect to a degree Vegas, because this is like the really big one, and they do have them like all over actually.
Yeah. There's the ones that I've been to, since I am based out of Pittsburgh, I've been to the GPs here, a couple of times, which seems to be a little bit on the smaller side. And I went to Portland's last year, which were the first, I'd say, cosplayer summit took place last year that MJ put together, but. This one, Vegas is just astonishingly big. When it's like 5 days of magic, I'm going, 5 days? My gosh! I mean, when I went to Pittsburgh, the convention center where it's held is about, I don't know, maybe a 15-minute drive from my house. So I went down there, parked in the parking garage, went in and go, oh, hey, look at this. They have some artists set up, and they have some, they have vendors, which, is pretty cool. So I'd go. Look through that, and then just tables upon tables upon tables of people playing this, which I'm gonna date myself a little bit here.
Acceptable.
Yeah, my buddies. Before I lived in Pittsburgh, I actually lived in Ohio, and I had a bunch of friends who played this. And we're talking, so when did I lived out there in the late 90s. So they were playing with a lot of the very early sets. And they're like, oh, you got to play this. You got to play this. I'm going, nah, pass. I'm already into Warhammer. I'm already spending enough money as it is. I have no interest in this. It's like, okay, oh, you're a red decker. You burn things. Woo. So I, kind of poo-pooed it and was like, all right, whatever. I'll get back into it. And now looking back today, I'm going, man, that was a dumb decision of me, but I never considered that it would get to be such a big thing, and so ubiquitous. Where a lot of people, it's like, oh, do you play Magic? Oh yeah, I play Magic. Whereas back then I would have thought, okay, you play a little card game, and just how huge this is going to be. The schedule. I'm looking at the schedule right now on their webpage, and I'm going, oh my gosh, there's a history of draft schedule, all this, all weekend on demand events, and it looks like it'll fire off whenever, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, last chance trials, and I'm scrolling down through this schedule, and I'm going, how far is this? My index finger is going, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's like about 20, 25 spins through my wheel here, and
yeah,
it's going to be absolutely immense to watch all this, and I shudder to think at how the logistics go. Go with this, because when I would watch them at Portland and Pittsburgh, and they'd announce, okay, this is going on here around so and so. We have this side event. We have this side event, and just watching people kind of ebb and flow into the area, and then just start shuffling up and dealing. And and I don't have a problem sitting next to people, but I'm like, my gosh, there's so many people crammed into a small space. I like to have a little room, and like, here's my deck box, here's my dice, here's my thing, and I'm like, okay, sorry, I think I'm smashed both of your elbows on each side of me here.
Yep. I've been to pre-release events where it's like that, where you're like, this store was not made for the amount of people trying to play Magic here.
Yeah, or board game day.
Oh my god, yeah, where you go to like a board game event or something, and you're like, I'm sardined in here. This is not the right way to play.
How are we fitting this board on this table to play?
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah, you look at tables and they have numbers like, okay, you go to table blankety blank. It's like table 900. So I'm like, what the heck is going on here? This is astounding.
The amount of seats they have open still for the events, like, just says it all. That there's still, like, 2,000 seats open for the Legacy event. It's like, what? How many people are you going to have there? Oh, my God.
Yeah, and...
well, Vegas conventions in general are normally huge. They also have, like, one of the largest Star Trek conventions that happen in Vegas.
Well, the funny thing is, I think the EDC, the Electronic Dance Carnival, is going to be there the same week. So you're going to see some people really experiencing Vegas to the fullest. And I think that's partially why flights from Pittsburgh to Vegas usually are not this pricey. But as we were going through it, we keep looking, going, okay, wait. Wow, why is this much? And finding out what else is going on there at the same time. Oh my gosh.
But Vegas in general is just pricey, but it's worth it.
As I put it, Vegas, everyone will be your friend in Vegas as long as your wallet says you can.
I've been to Vegas 5 times in my life.
We are complete side note. The costume group, we are going to go to the flagship Taco Bell, probably in costume, which is open. It's 24/7, and apparently they serve adult beverages there. So this is going to be
every place in Vegas serves adult beverages.
This is going to be
and they're dirt cheap because they want to keep you drunk in Vegas.
Yeah.
If you go to the Circus, you can get a foot-tall margarita for like $5.
Now, here's the question: is how many people are going to be at least slightly inebriated at the Magic events?
Well, considering they're not just doing, they also have the electric dance thing going on, not just inebriated, but on other things as well.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah. All I know is it's probably going to be worth the price of admission to watch Liliana, bust into a 7-layer burrito or whatever they are. Sorry, MJ.
Yes. The things she brings to Liliana, just with the things on her Twitter feed, is insane. I mean, I'm sorry, just like.
I cannot give her enough credit for how hard she works.
Oh my god, it's got to be insane.
I mean, she's got a home life, she's got kids. I've got one kid, and that's that's enough of a challenge for me.
And doesn't she do like quotations on cards? Like one
she does flavor text on things. Yeah. She just goes nonstop, and the best thing about MJ. Man, don't let her hear this because she's gonna.
I don't know if she'll see this show. She knows about the show. She's the one that introduced me to most of the Magic cosplayers I've been talking to and all the people. So, and she's talked about maybe being on after Vegas. So,
because her being Liliana and me being Jace, there's always that sense of one-upspersonship. But she has been so graciously inclusive of everybody to come and join and be part of the group. Doesn't matter if if it's someone's first costume or 50th costume. if you're involved, you're involved, and we all just kind of go from there. But yeah, some of the amusing stuff, with Portland and a lot of the back and forth between she and I, doing photo shoots. We're doing some of the serious photo shoots. Like the throne room and the nose flick and whatnot. We've got all these serious faces, and in between, me being me, I'm just cracking these stupid comments. I've got my head in her lap, and I look up, and I don't move my mouth because I don't want to screw up the pictures. But I look up and I go, my eyes are down here, and. And I can see her going, I'm gonna kill you, maybe literally,
Oh.
The amount of work that she puts in it's unfathomable. So, getting back to the event at Vegas, I'm actually more curious to watch just what goes on, because I'm fascinated by how much people put into this game and how much thought and how much planning and preparation they do.
There are just some times where it's like, truthfully speaking, I have those decks of mine where I have designed them so perfectly, but they're never meant to be tournament legal or tournament played, because I'm always like hey, let's get a couple of friends together. But it doesn't mean I can't have evil deck while we're playing some multiplayer.
Right. There are times, I would watch when I was starting to try and be, I would say, competitive again. Mm-hmm. Did not pan out. I'd watch a lot of streams, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we can expect to see maybe this card or this card soon," and going, how well do they know like every deck and every strategy? And I'm going, I don't have the time or brain power for this. And it's like, oh, sure enough, there it is. I'm going, wow, that's pretty cool. So, I love the game. I love the lore. I love everything that comes with it. And my own little thing, just for kicks and giggles, man, would I love to see a plane chase event, just because.
That would be fun.
Oh, God, I love plane chase.
I don't really do events just because I don't think I'm nearly as good enough to do it. I've done it one time, and I think I was out in the first couple rounds. And but if it was a plane chase one, I'd probably do it just because that would be fun as heck.
Yeah, it's completely. Well, I won't say completely, but it's random enough that if maybe they do it as a small entry fee, because sure, there's skill involved, but there's also I rolled the dice and everything just got wiped out. And you're like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's a chance that it's just going to screw with the best player's deck. So it doesn't.
Exactly. So it's like,
doesn't always matter if you're the most skilled or if you had the most amount of money. That's the other thing reason I don't get into events is I don't have the funds that I'm willing to part with to pay to make the best deck.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, run as a $5 or $10 event, and it's like, okay, here, we're just gonna do something goofy. Go nuts,
Yeah. I mean, I'm notorious. I have an artifact deck that has never won or lost. It is only tied. And the funniest part was I didn't build it on purpose. I just went through my artifacts. I'm like, these seem like they'd be interesting to put together.
Yeah.
And it only ties. I'm like, that's definitely interesting. I don't think I could have designed a deck that could only tie.
Yeah. No. It seems like this will be an interesting event, definitely. But why don't we move on? Because I guess we could really talk about this all day. And we have a couple other topics we do want to. We want a couple other Magic topics we want to handle. So they showed off Commander Anthology. So Commander Anthology Commander basically it's EDH, which stands for Elder Dragon. I don't remember the H.
Oh, hi,
Henry. Elder Dragon Henry.
I never remember the H. It's like the one thing about EDH I never remember. It's every time.
Highlander.
Ah.
Okay, I thought it was Highlander, but I'm like, no, is that right?
It's one of those weird things. It's like, I know it's EDH, I know it's Elder Dragon, something. But anyway, so Commander. So, it started as EDH, and Magic has been, or Wizards has been supporting it. And they've had, 5 sets of decks come out now, or they're working on their 6th, which is going to be Tribal, which you talked about a few weeks ago. So they came out with anthologies. All right. Now, the thing about the anthology series is, the first one, I got the Dual Decks anthology, which I thought was very interesting because it's sort of like, some of those dual decks were really old. I didn't know until I was working on some of my, history videos for my YouTube channel that I noticed that, Goblins versus Elves came out during Lorwyn. And I'm like, whoa,
oh, really?
Yeah! I didn't know that until I was just looking through recently. Because I was sort of... It's like, holy crap, that's old!
Back in our day!
Well, for me, that's not that old because it's, I started Unlimited, I technically stopped in Apocalypse, and then came back in Scars. So, this was during my Magic break. So I wouldn't have known this. So it's, cool that you could get an anthology with these decks if you're really interested in them. And it does have this level of collector to it, but the problem with that is it's really its own thing. See, the collector in me knows it's his own thing, too, which hurts me a little bit. And so now this is one that has 4 decks from 5 of the Commander set groups coming out, the 5 popular ones, from the original Commander, 2013, 14, and 15 editions. And so this isn't including 16, and as I said, 17's coming out this year. So the 6th one's coming out soon, actually, I think. This week, month, or the next or something. But it's interesting because, again, it's the more popular decks of each of those. And they're doing, rather than the giant commanders, which they oftentimes do, they're doing, foil versions of the commanders, which is kind of cool, too. But other than that, there isn't much different. So, I mean, other than if you missed these, or you're a diehard collector like I tend to be sometimes, is there a great reason behind it other than maybe Magic wants to make some, or Wizards wants to make some more money? Question mark. I keep hearkening back to this sometimes. It almost seems like they have this point where you're like, are they really trying to do this to make money, or is there a good reason behind it? It's hard to tell.
Probably both.
It's really true oftentimes. I mean, the fact is, of the Commander decks I have, the Heavenly Inferno, I have a heavily modified version of that. Is one of my favorite Commander decks. I switched out half the cards in it, but it still has Kalia the Vast as the commander. So, I mean, there you go. It's already, got everything.
It has one original card.
Well, no. I kept most of them because
I'm picking up.
Angels, Demons, and Dragons, and I had to add some more Angels, Demons, and Dragons because, of course, I did.
Angelic Demon and Dragons. Got it.
Yes. What do you think about this, Joe? Since you're the one that's least into the Commander than the rest of us, I think, probably, or has tried it the least. You've tended to try my decks, so...
Yeah, I never got really into the Commander thing. It's an interesting aspect. It's interesting to play, but it's... To me, it's just another format, really. I mean, it's cool that it's okay, this guy's kind of leading the charge into battle, and it's cool that they're doing bringing back a bunch of the old cards. It seems like they've been doing kind of been doing a lot of that lately with things you wouldn't think of, oh, we're going to bring this back now. Oh, is it necessary? Okay, I guess there's people who really want to collect that, so... And it's good for the people who are newer to Magic who didn't get a chance to buy those cards because they weren't playing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, what would interest me more if they're doing new interesting artwork on it, then that I'm totally up for it because I think, as we've said so many times, is that Magic's really stepped up their artwork game. And I would totally get the cards probably just for the artwork alone.
Yes, and it doesn't look to be different artwork. So, not that it's not bad stuff, too. Because the thing is...
no, I'm not saying the older artwork's bad. It's just
no.
the newer stuff is just mind-blowing.
Yes. Well, it's sort of like also, if I would to get these, more than likely, rather than just throwing them in the collection, I would probably remove certain cards from each of the decks that I could use in other places, and then leave the rest in collection, basically. It's sort of like, what could I use in my decks? Okay, the rest of you goes into collection. There we go.
Yeah.
I have them all already.
Yeah, you're more collector than I am. I buy cards to play with.
I'm in between both. I love a good collection, but I always love to edit my decks and make them better, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm more, is this useful for my deck? Am I willing to spend the money to make my deck better?
You hit on a point that I'm very interested about, too. Because you mentioned, like, bringing back stuff. Consider they are bringing back Archenemy with Nicol Bolas Archenemy. Now, I can understand the theme of it because we've got a Monket and Hours of Devastation. But Archenemy? I got Archenemy. It was like, I don't know how popular it actually was. How popular was it? Anybody know?
I don't know.
Yeah, it never felt like super popular of a format. So, I mean, I don't necessarily understand the support of it at that point, but it's cool. I mean, it makes me feel like that Archenemy deck I made, well, of the actual cards, I could do something more with that. I've actually, like, played with it once. So, I made it, though. I don't know. It's Wizards' decisions always confuse me a lot. But, I mean, at least if you never got into the Commander ones, or if you're new to them, and you want to try some they're actually really good pre-made Commander decks. And as I said for myself, I took the one of them, and I made it my own. If you want to make it your own, too. So, I mean, I could recommend getting them if you haven't gotten any of them before. Because these are the better of each of those blocks of decks. So, anybody else have anything to add to this one?
Nope.
Okay. Why not? Okay, so I do want to hit on just a little bit the sudden spoilers of Hours of Devastation, because apparently they weren't supposed to spoil them, but they did, or something like that, and they're leaving them out to the world or something. Magic's been going on with weird spoilers lately, because didn't they have, like, the Commander spoilers we were talking about the other week with, like, Cat Dragon and stuff, that people weren't expecting that, and someone did that? There's just been something...
Yeah. Magic. I think they need to lock down their people better.
Apparently. So, yeah, we have Nicol Bolas. We know what he looks like and what he's going to be doing. And I think the big comment I heard was, what was the one card from a Monket? I'm not thinking of it because I'm really, again, bad with names. It's the one that allows... Is
it the pervert?
No. It's the one that... when you play it, if you play a Bolas Planeswalker and it's in your graveyard, you add a loyalty counter to a Bolas Planeswalker.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but you did mention that to me.
Yes. I'm gonna try to look that up quickly. Let's see if something pops up. Oh, there's Dark Intimidations. When you cast a Bolas Planeswalker card, exile Dark Intimidation from the graveyard. That Planeswalker enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it. Alright, so here's apparently the argument. It enters with 7. There seems to be very little reason to have extra counters on it, because because it's like those 3 or 4 extra counters aren't going to allow you to do the big, his maximum one right away. It's gonna
but it would get you very close to it, and the maximum one is very devastating.
Yeah, I guess exile each non-land permanent your opponent's control is pretty devastating, and if you'd played 4 of them, that would be... you'd be at 11, so you'd only have 1 turn to basically do that.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And then you pretty much, unless excuse me, unless your opponent can kill Nicholas in one turn, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that +2
Yeah.
is appalling.
Yes. We exile the
Oh.
top card. Target opponent exiles the top card of his or library, and then you can play it.
Yeah, without paying its mana cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's gross.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like maybe it would have been less gross if it would have been like, maybe pay it and you can use any mana as any mana cost or something, which they do that for blue spells or stuff occasionally, that you can exile something with a blue and then you could pay blue as if it was any mana. That usually...
I mean, the +2 and +1 and the -12 are all horrific. The -4 is good.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no bad one on that card. There's no like, oh, I probably wouldn't use this ability. It's like,
I think,
why
like-
wouldn't I use any of these?
Yeah, like, if you're just playing it on its own, the 12, you're going to be, like, it's going to be late game to get to the 12 regardless. Because
Right.
he's a 7 cost. The +1, it's mean, but I feel like it's not, like, the worst thing in the world. Neither's the -4. It's that +2 is just sort of, like, a sneaky thing. That's sort of, like, it could be so devastating and so, like, all of a sudden, what do you have there?
I mean, the +1's still, but it's still really good because
oh, yeah,
it's still exile. It's not discard. It's exile,
that's true.
But
which
yeah,
makes
no,
that worse.
that +2 is horrible, especially if it's a tight game and you hit a flood. It's like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, great, thanks a bunch. That's
Or if they manage to
horrible.
get like a key card out of your deck.
Yeah.
Yes. You could easily, like, look at top of someone's opponent's deck and be like, oh, you were going to have this. Guess what? I play it instead.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna play Time Warp? Nope, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Oh. No, yeah, Bolas, I like it because the fact is it still is very expensive. That's like sometimes Planeswalkers, I feel they're too overpowered because they're very cheap, and then they have their abilities. He still costs 7,
Yeah.
So by the time you could pay a 7 mana spell, there are very devastating 7 mana spells that you could get out there that could definitely turn the tides. So he doesn't feel, even with that power, I don't feel like he'd be totally unbalanced, in comparison to sometimes you get like the Planeswalker that costs you like 4, and it's like the tick up is like ridiculous too. So that's an interesting one, definitely. Now the other two were of course a 3 mana board wipe, but it causes your lands not to untap during your next untap step.
Oh yeah, I liked that one.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap, and it wipes everything. So it's sort of like if you had already tapped all your mana and like been ready to play some creatures afterwards, well, it doesn't matter that everything's destroyed. I mean, you have like just a perfect setup for it. And I think, like, I don't know the story, but already I'm interested in the Hours of Devastation story because of just that art and the quote alone. That was the problem.
Yeah.
This has me hooked on, like, what the heck is going on?
I love the art on that Bantu's Last Reckoning. It's just, you look at it and go, well, it's kind of simple, but then you really kind of, look into it a little deeper, read the flavor, and just like, all right, that's pretty dang cool looking.
Yeah. I do like that one a lot. Now, I have heard, getting into the last one that was spoiled, the other Planeswalker, Samut the Tested, people apparently just don't like this whatsoever. And I'm sort of, like, on the border with it because, again, I'm not as prolific when it comes to using Planeswalkers. It's more like if I get one, I'll throw it into a deck and hey. But other than that, it's sort of like I don't plan a lot around them often. So
Yeah, I'm slightly anti-Planeswalker.
well, you're very old school, and I understand that, and I can accept that. Back in your day, it took you forever to accept equipment, when that came out.
Yeah. Hey, that's what enchantments are for. I don't want artifacts that are just enchantments. I'm fine with it now, but when it first happened, I was like, no, why do you need artifacts that act like enchantments? That's what you have an enchantment for.
No, it's funny. I mean, I myself, I'm not a gargantuan proponent of planeswalker cards. You know, to me, it's like, okay, well, am I going? Mainly because I'm guessing it's more of my lack of exposure and naivete to the game. But sometimes, like, all right, I have to plan for a specific planeswalker or something like that. Like when Elspeth was a big thing. It's like if there was white, it's like, all right, there's going to be an Elspeth in there somewhere, and I mean they're neat. I like them to some extent, but I never wanted them to be like the centerpiece of a deck. But that's just my opinion.
I think they're slightly unbalancing for the game because now it's like, oh, now there's something that's really dangerous on the board that I have to probably not attack the opponent and to worry about attacking that planeswalker now.
Yeah, but I mean, there are ways of dealing with it. It's just, yes, it's not as easy to deal with than, let's say, a creature. Because you can't, you have to attack the player, and you would have had to been dealing the damage to the player to deal damage to the planeswalker.
Exactly.
So it does have this extra step that makes it more difficult, definitely.
It still reminds me of back in the day when our friend Zach had the idea of having like a role-playing aspect to Magic where you had yourself and then you had a character that was... I'm like, that's exactly what a planeswalker is.
Yeah.
Is that you have yourself and then you have a character that you're controlling as well.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, the only other problem is they wildly vary in power level. Insanely.
Oh yeah, there's some that you look at and go, why would I even play that?
Yeah.
They're it's like they have one good ability on the entire card.
Yeah.
Or there's ones like Nicholas Bolas, which is like, every ability this one has is amazing. Why wouldn't I want that?
Yeah. And now the thing is, like, I have that argument for Nicol Bolas there that he is a lot more balanced with his mana cost, He's still a 7 mana cost card.
Oh, yeah.
While there are 4 that have similar abilities that you're like, wow, that's actually really easy to play. Now, getting back to Samut, the Tested. So, Samut here can give a creature first strike, can tick down to do 2 damage divided, or you can search for... The only thing that's really good about, I think, Samut is the search your library for 2 creatures and/or planeswalkers and put them in the battlefield. But other than that, I feel like this is one of those ones that, unless you're really aiming for the top-down one, the tick-up and tick-down ones are just not, like, great. Like, the 2 damage one is okay, but...
Taking a big hit just to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that it's also among 2 target creatures or players. It's like, wow, I could hit either one person for 2 or 2 people for 1.
I know.
And it takes 2 turns to charge that ability.
Yeah.
That's kind of crap.
I mean, if it was like a little more damage, maybe. Like 3 or 4, I think that would have been fine. And it would have felt like it was like worth it to use that. But even then, so like...
Double strike is useful.
Yeah, it is. I think like the tick up is okay. And it starts at 4. So that's not a bad number to start out with. 4 turns to do the big search isn't a bad amount of time.
No.
It's using and taking advantage of that. I don't know.
Yeah, and at least the tick up is worth the tick up.
Yeah. At least you could combo it with something, I feel like. Yeah,
it's like you could have a big creature, or maybe you're green-red, so you're going to have big creatures. Or if somehow you got something unblockable in there.
Yeah. Well, for green-red, you can have like a dragon flying, or you could have some kind of big trample creature. And as we all know, double strike and trample is just insane.
Yes, and gross.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a wonderful thing to give something. Yes.
What if we go real old school and go double strike and shadow?
Ooh. A green red black?
Yes. Only the shadow knows. Mwah.
That green, red, black is... I gotta get my Alara terms correctly here. Damn it, I'm not gonna get it. It's not... Grixis is the blue, black, red. It's, damn it, I'm not gonna get it. Nope, lost it. I tried. Tried for a second.
Did you ever have it?
I didn't. No. Well, yes and no. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about Alara on my Lord videos, and so of course I would have known them then. But now it's like, it's Bant, Esper, Jund. Is it Jund? It's Jund, I think. Yes.
I don't know.
Woo! I remembered.
Aren't you Bethel?
I know. I am special. Yeah. Just. But, oh man. So I think we do have to see more of Hours of Devastation. Definitely before we get a lot of idea of how this entire set's going to play out. But it's cool to see the two Planeswalkers. And I think it's really cool to see that the Planeswalkers that are shown off are definitely... One of them's new, and one of them's Nicol Bolas, which we all wanted to see.
Who doesn't love a good Nicholas Bolas?
There gets into that opinion of which I'm a neutral party on, of like, Gatewatch, yay or nay. I'm like, I don't care. As long as the cards are cool and I can play with them, I really don't care too much. But I know there are plenty of those that are like, Gatewatch, grr.
I'll be flat out honest, and me being me.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Jace as the image for Shadows over Innistrad, I in my head I just went, "What the f?" Like, what? Like, what is he doing there? It makes no. I mean, and I like Jace,
Well,
but
I mean, like, they brought it all around where they're like, guess what? It was Emrakul all the time, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. Because I didn't actually see that coming when after the first Shadows set. I'm like, oh, they're kind of doing some kind of dark ritual there. Ooh, what's going on? And it's Emrakul. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. Didn't see that coming.
I like the idea of them doing a lot more new and different Planeswalkers.
Yes.
Someone I can't remember where I saw it. I don't know if it was on Twitter or not, but someone said, if we don't see like a Jackal Naga or something else kind of Planeswalker from the Amonkhet set, I'm going, man, all right, that would be neat. I would love to see that.
Yeah, like I hate to say it, but some of my favorite Planeswalkers are the non-human ones. I love Tamio. I love Koira. And I thought, though he was a crappy card, I thought Tybalt was really cool too. The half demon, the half devil. He was awesome because he used to be human, but in his experiment he basically became like a half fiend. Oh, I find what's his name? Who I'm forgetting. Oh, because I'm also bad with names. The demon from Zendikar. Damn it. Who fought
Obnixilis?
Obnixilis. I think he's really cool too. Because he gets
say that 10 times fast.
Well, he gets tricked into murdering his entire plane. I was going over his backstory.
Surprise!
It's like demons are like, hey, guess what? We tricked you to murdering your entire plane. Now you're the only one left alive.
Are you sure he was tricked and maybe he just wanted to be the only one left alive?
I think he wanted to murder a lot of people. Because his spark awakened because he realized he was the only one left alive on his plane. So, I mean, yeah. But it's sort of like, it adds a different interesting level. And not that I don't mind, like, your occasional, because, as it seems like with most fantasy settings, they do tend to have humans as sort of your general, we're the, Avery person, we don't have, like, huge specializations, we're just sort of there filling space.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind that, so of course we got plenty of human planeswalkers. It's just like the other races and stuff. I would have loved to see something like the Fidelkin planeswalker from Kaladesh was awesome. I would love to have seen a dwarven one.
Yeah.
Something like that. That would have been cool. Because dwarves just don't have that representation anymore anyway, until Kaladesh came out. Good old dwarfs. Alright, I think we've been talking about Magic a good amount here. I do want to get some role-playing news and discussions in just a little bit before we end the show. I do want to touch in some of that, because, hey, we're discussing tabletop here, so we can't be Magic all the time.
And maybe we could actually get James to speak then.
I know! He's spoken a little bit, but he's been talking in chat more.
Yes. Well, because he doesn't play Magic really anymore. So
Yeah. All right. So the first one I want to touch in is I do want to touch on Pathfinder: Legacy of the First World, which is I think interesting for Pathfinder because it's they're doing Fey touched people. You're gonna be all like Fey touched, ooh, and naturey.
Hey! Don't touch me there, you Fays.
But it's good for like things like gnomes. It's your favorite, Joe.
Yes, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want Fays touching my Grand Prix.
No, what is it? The worst was I think in somewhere I was talking about it and I did it right one sentence and wrong the next sentence, and it's like
you were talking. I was telling you about it because it was on your your one YouTube video, and you're like, the Grand Prix is happening this week, blah blah blah. The Grand Prix, blah blah blah. The Grand Prix, blah blah blah. I'm like, can you not go back and forth?
I'm not just talking about. Oh god!
Like, just get it wrong. Just get it wrong the entire time, at least.
So James, do you have any kind of opinion on this? As someone has played Pathfinder.
Thank you for steering this in a manner that I can contribute to. Even the people in chat were like saying magic stuff. I'm like, oh god. But
well,
yeah,
it just means you need to get back into Magic, James.
Excuse me, I have one obsession. It's Overwatch. I don't have any more room for anything.
He does obsess about Overwatch a lot.
Junkrat for the win.
Woo! It's the best Australian character. But yeah, the Fey touch seems kind of like a cool thing, just because I remember playing in 3.5. There was ASMR, and they had like a level adjustment and stuff, and me and my friends didn't really know what we were doing, so we just played him like a character, and he was so overpowered. It was still so much fun to play. So this should add a lot of depth to the game.
Joe, as someone that plays gnomes,
I love gnomes. Gnomes are so much fun and mischievous.
And they are the opposite of you. They are very tiny in comparison to you being very large.
Yes, that's also part of the fun is I get to play someone really tiny and don't have to worry about running into hit my head and everything, as in real life. Hence why I have an eternal helmet.
Just because you can like kind of clunk on your skull and it makes kind of like that knocking noise, clunk 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 clunk.
No, I can run into things at full speed, head first, and not be affected. And I think that's from when I was growing up, and we had a large metal beam in our basement that was right above my eye level.
Oh.
Is that just, like, do you just don't feel any different? Like, unaffected is like a state of mind?
I'm unaffected. Like, I can bang my head into something and just be like, whatever.
Well,
heck, when I played
you could be like that, but we, as, like, observers, could be like, well, there's Joe, and now he's unconscious.
No, I don't go unconscious. It doesn't affect me.
Well, we might notice it later on when you're speaking like in like reverse language or something.
It just means I'm really good at headbutting people.
So this is reason number 91 I don't get in fights with Joe.
Wait, there was another 90 reasons? I thought that'd be just like, that'd be a fine reason number 1.
Because I'm huge, because I'm huge, because I'm huge, because I'm huge, because...
That's the first 89.
Okay. What's the 90th?
Well, because you seem to know how to fight. So I would just be holding a game control and be like, A, B, jump and crouch.
Sorry, your combos do not affect me.
Combo breaker, quickly.
Headbutt. And Stream Cat.
Yeah, I've been replaced. Mirror. Look, we didn't have a good animal... Well, actually, with this one, we could technically have a good animal-based conversation, but we don't really need one.
Faye touched animals?
Yes, Faye touched animals, because Faye touched animals, because Faye touched. So
Faye's
yeah.
touched everything.
So I think this is an interesting, like, as a lot of the options Pathfinder has been putting out lately have been sort of a mixed bag, I feel this is actually one of the more interesting ones, is I guess what I really wanted to talk about it for. Because I think, like, some of the options are sort of like, okay, Like, what, they had the Adventures book the other week, which was pretty much just a reprint of a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So, at least they're still putting out something that I feel like is interesting, though I almost feel like another point about this is, haven't they done some of this stuff before, too? A little bit? Like, Nature Touched People?
I think so, but I guess it's kind of a collection of all of that, though.
This one seems like just another one of their small paperback books. So there's a smaller one. So I guess
Right,
it's just,
but it might be a smaller collection of things they've done.
It's new stuff maybe too. You know,
and some new stuff. Yeah.
I feel like they're like
everyone loves a good fae.
a couple. I need an extra camera for Kitty Cam. Though Kitty Cam would not work very well because Kitty would walk away. Because Kitty just wanders around wherever Kitty wants to wander.
Well, you strap Kitty into a baby seat.
Damien probably would protest less than I think she would. Like, less than you think she would. She puts...
I know she's a female, but I want to see a mustache. For some reason. If
she wears hats. She wears hats. And puts up with hats. Cat hats.
You could put like a little fairy on top of her head for Fae touch.
That's
Any
true.
hat is a cat hat if you try hard enough.
This is true.
Can we put hats on... James, can we please put hats on you?
Sure.
Sweet.
He might be good in hats. Anyway.
They look fantastic in hats.
Alright, so this is an interesting one, and I think I've brought up my point as much as I want to bring it up. Very hat for the cat hat. Oh, God. Wait. Okay, everybody. This will be a little awkward for me, but...
Are you going to be wearing a cat hat?
Oh, she got down. I tried to get her on my shoulders, but she refused.
I thought you were going to try to do cat hat.
She can put...
But then you'd have to have cat butt on your head. Do you want cat butt on your head?
She gets up there voluntarily. It's hard to put her up there non-voluntarily. Now get off the table, Damien. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to stop her. It's out of view. All right. So that was the Pathfinder Legacy of the First World. I guess I've stepped on it, or
stepped on it. Don't step on the Fae. You'll hurt them.
Touched on it as much as I wanted to. Why don't we move on to the next topic I wanted to handle?
Streamcat sitting on your keyboard?
Well, Streamcat sitting on my... I haven't updated the docket. I'm sorry. I didn't update the docket.
No, you didn't.
Pathfinder flip map.
I'm sorry I didn't update the docket. Docket not updated because I forgot.
Pathfinder flip map? I have no idea.
I forgot to update it, okay? I'm not used to having the docket with Nightbot. Anyway, what was I talking about? Tomb of Dreams. Yes. Tomb of Dreams. It's an interesting product. So, I have played Exalted all of once and all of a single session. But I've made 2 characters for it. And it's an interesting system. We were talking about Pathfinder, Elysia. Cats. That too. So, they've come out with Tomb of Dreams for Exalted. It's a jumpstart, they call it. So this is different than, like, an introduction, and it's different, like, than, like, a, beginner's box. It's a jumpstart. Because it's got book, pencils, dice, and a little bit of the core rules, and 5 pre-generated characters, and then a scenario. So it's like a little bit of a starter, but it's also like a little bit more, because dice and pencils I never think about with like a starter box. What are you talking about now?
I made a typo in the chat. That was rather funny. I was trying to say Fae touched cats, and I accidentally changed the F to a G.
Gay touched cats now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, don't we have somebody in the chat named Feline? Feline, how do you feel about all this cat stuff? Because honestly,
it's a
I feel like
catastrophe.
we're stepping in your wheelhouse, and I feel kind of bad about it.
Gay touch. Gray touch. Okay, that's better than gay touch. Thank you.
I Joe, opinion. You play World of Darkness systems. It's a World of Darkness system. It's a D10 system.
Sorry, I lost
Opinion
track.
now.
I lost track of what we were exactly talking about.
Tomb of Dreams.
Well, we're
Exalted.
talking about
You-
Exalted.
You know a little bit about Exalted?
Oh yes.
It comes out with pencils and
I
dice.
know very little about the actual Exalted one, but I do know about World of Darkness. I know Exalted is high magic, though. I'm more used to the traditional World of Darkness, which is kind of in modern times, where magic is just starting to come back to the world, and there was the great goblinization, where people all of a sudden were walking down the street and turned into trolls and other magical creatures, and it's like, what?
It's
And
kind
the
of like
president
Shadowrun.
turned into a dragon.
That's Shadowrun.
Oh shoot, that's Shadowrun. Wrong. My brain is dead today. I'm sorry. I got up like 15 minutes before the stream.
Hey, you're good enough. You didn't need sleep.
You're better than me, Joe. It's fine.
But but I know Exalted is the high area of
It is the high magic, yeah.
where it kind of takes place in the past, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think it is like in a past or an alternate world or something. So I don't even know how it relates to the other World of Darkness games. I don't even know if it does.
It's the tale of forgotten mythic age, a time when spirits walked openly among men. The world was flat and floated atop a sea of chaos, and the restless dead roamed the moonless nights. Heroes granted the power by the mightiest gods of war and intrigue.
And this was Joe, the Wikipedia master.
No, I'm on there. I'm actually on Onyx Publishing's site. Ha! Not Wikipedia. I know it was also first released in 2001.
Cool, and I fixed the docket while you were talking.
While I was narrating this epic thing.
Yeah, there we go.
With my narrating voice. Mwahaha.
You have a narrating voice?
Yes.
And I have to share this one.
Do you not like my narrating voice?
Yeah, so the thing is, Exalted, again, I have very little experience with it. Well, yes, the command cats, why is it always cats? Because it's always cats. Because Streamcat exists, so it's always cats. And there's cat monkeys and cat snakes and cat dragons, all according to magic. Thank you, Magic.
Cats. All I really want are cats.
So what is Conan the Thief?
Are we moving on already?
I'm just interested in Conan the Thief.
We'll move on.
Well,
in a
you
second.
see, Conan took a level of thief.
Joe,
Oh.
stop encouraging him. Don't
Is it
finish
Barbarian
it.
15, Thief 1?
Yes.
All right.
No. Barbarian 20, Thief 1. He's epic now.
All right.
It
So
was called Cat Dog.
Yes.
Sorry. Anyway, back to Exalted.
Exalted. Yeah. Okay.
It seems like it would be really interesting, especially to play a mage game in that.
Well, the thing is, I think you are your own type of characters, from what I remember from experience
Okay.
with it. They have their own They have they basically have a very similar system, of course, but they have how vampires have their disciplines, werewolves have their gifts,
Yeah.
and mages have their spheres. They have their own powers. I can't remember what they're called because again,
Okay.
I've made 2 characters in it and only got to play 1 session with one of them. So.
Well, I guess if you played traditional mage in that could be a bit broken, because if magic's everywhere, there's no worry about.
Oh,
the
thank
heck's
you,
it called?
Elysia. It's like the angelic one, where you're incarnations of divine beings. That's right.
So it's kind of like that weird one, in a way where you're. Oh, what the hell was it? Started with a C, I think.
Because I remember there's the gold type and the silver type, because it was similar to you get the auspexes for werewolf and stuff like that. And I remember I was playing a silver, which are more magically oriented. I think gold were more physically oriented. Were more battle oriented or something.
what's the weird system in World of Darkness where you're playing in the real world, but you're also playing in the Fey world?
Changeling.
Changeling. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yes, Changeling. Yes, because there's also Mummy, Demon, Hunter, Wraith, and a couple others that I can't remember.
No, you got to say it right. Hunter, Hunter, Hunter.
I know. And a couple others I can't recall off the top of my head because they did a billion different World of Darkness games. And then
I only really know the main ones.
The main
the only ones I've played: Mage, Werewolf, and Vampire. Are the only ones I've actually played.
Yes, and Elysia did point out that Wraith did a lot of the same alternate world as Changeling.
Okay.
They both did that
I've never
realm.
played either of them because it seemed really weird and bizarre. Thank you.
Yes. James is trying to do like a Hunter command. I don't have Hunter command set up for anything. Sorry, James.
James, just say Hunter, Hunter, Hunter.
Hunter, Hunter, Hunter.
All right,
Hunter?
but going back now that we've discussed what Exalted is,
Yes.
the 3rd edition. I guess it's out now. I have no idea.
Yes, it is out now.
But they have basically a way that you don't need to have the main rule book. It can introduce you. If you already have it, this is like a quick reference guide. But if you aren't familiar with it, which I actually think is pretty good because as much as it I like to say how a World of Darkness, a D10 dice system is really easy to get into, it's still learning a new system. And this is like the only D10 system I've seen an introductory to. Like, Pathfinder has introductory stuff. Dungeons & Dragons has introductory stuff. Heck, if we go back in time, Magic had introductory stuff.
I remember when you got paid, you could earn stuff for teaching people magic.
God, yeah,
Back in my day, they gave you freebies for teaching people.
Yes.
Whippersnapper.
We're old.
Yes.
You're
that's right.
You're the whippersnapper, James.
I'm old.
James, get off our front lawns.
Hi, Damien. Yes, welcome back again. Meow, 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 meow. You were gone for so
Except
long.
James.
Anyway, alright. So this is an interesting one that comes with, the books, a pencil, some pencils, and some 10-sided dice. Which, I mean...
Oh, pencils!
Nobody actually has pencils anymore?
My question is, are they at least, monogrammed with...
I have no idea. They could be cheap.
With World of Darkness, or are they just, cheap yellow school pencils?
I haven't seen the entire...
that kind of slave.
I haven't seen everything that exists within said box, so I don't know.
Because it's just cheap yellow pencils, that's lame.
What happened is that they made the pencils with the monogrammed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so as you level up, you sharpen the pencil and you gain levels.
So can I just sharpen the pencil to level 10 and be like, ha! I'm level 10 now!
Let the record show Joe is a cheater.
Right.
Or do I have to hop on one foot while sharpening the pencil and going level, level, level?
You do. Let's move on, though, to our last topic for today.
Conan!
The thief.
Thief-barian.
No, he's a thief, not a barbarian.
He's a thief-barian.
Alright, so the thing is, if we go to the Conan books done by, I don't know what his name is because I never remember it, and I've looked it up before, and don't try to correct me because I'm never going to remember it after you mention it.
Bob the Barbarian.
Oh, Robert E. Howard's is on the picture of the book.
Also known as Bob the Barbarian.
Anyway, Robert E. Howard. Yeah, he did a lot of Conan stories. He had them as different kind of as I've seen it put. He had different hats. He was a king. He was a barbarian. He was the destroyer for the movie. But apparently, there was times within the source material that he actually was a thief. He would steal stuff from people. So they put out a source book for those time periods where you want your Conan games and barbarians to be totally thieves.
I have to say, I love the one picture in the samples of him straddling a gorilla's head with his legs locked around it. The gorilla's wearing a cape for some reason. and he's trying to stab it.
Well, look, I actually can get a
Oh,
reference.
wait. The gorilla's wearing a cape and has a giant torch in his hand.
I thought the torch is behind him.
It is. His one arm's behind him.
No, well, no, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. No. Oh, then the torch is coming out of his butt because
it's getting knocked over. If you look at the other side,
oh, yeah, okay.
It was like a standing lamp.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, you're right. But from the angle, it looks like the torch is actually coming out of the gorilla's butt.
Thank you for that.
Maybe Conan stuck it there.
If you don't recall, from the Conan the Adventurer cartoon, there was a story where he was trying to steal a gem from a wizard, and the wizard changed into an ape monster and had a cape.
We're talking about Conan the Thief, I think.
So Conan the Adventurer, the animated series, I think this is a reference to that, which is technically probably the reference to probably one of the...
Oh, yeah, because in the picture beforehand, it's totally a dude, and then in the next picture, he's totally a gorilla dude. So Wizard turned himself into gorilla dude.
Yeah, there you go. See, I was predictive of this one. The animated series. Bam!
And then Conan stuck a giant torch up the dude's butt.
Probably. I mean, if you're Conan, you're not going to be nice when you're fighting with a dude. I mean...
Or a gorilla dude.
Especially if he's a gorilla dude. I mean, as soon as he goes gorilla dude, out the window, you know?
What if he became Dude Dudington the Third?
Dude Dudington the Third is actually a really nice guy and would have just given him the gem.
But Conan still would have stuck the...
sorry.
Are you being attacked by cat? What happened? I missed it. Look at it.
I have to give a link. Alicia was gonna give a link, and it's not gonna work because
there we go.
Feline was.
The Wikipedia site for Conan the Adventurer.
It's that Nightbot setting which I have to make. I don't know.
Sorry. I couldn't resist. Such names in this.
Yeah.
Rathamon.
Hey, look, the cruel wizard Rathamon is nothing to joke at.
Windfang.
Windfang was the giant reptilian monster with 4 arms.
Ramamon.
He was the former servant of Set, which Rathamon replaced by stealing the Dark Ring from him.
Can I call him Ramamonamon?
Probably.
Just sounds better.
Uh-huh. You say these things a lot.
And Yindu.
Is that the little snake cobra thing that follows
a
around?
warlord who is exiled from the Kusan for his evil deeds.
I think he's a skeleton dude, maybe.
Skeleton dude!
Yeah.
Because every big muscle guy needs some kind of skeleton to fight.
Ramamon is a Pokemon, don't lie.
Ramamon! I summon you!
Oh my god. Alright, but Conan the Thief, whatever, story, takes place in the dark underworld of Hyberian Age? I guess, like, you don't think of Conan's world as having a dark underworld, but I guess it does.
Well,
you can have adventures
Conan is kind of like pre-history.
Yeah, you know, it's a barbarian age and an interesting world. Yeah. James, oh my god.
Character just named Thunder.
Thunder is his horse.
Okay. That makes more sense.
And
I'm like,
Neatlet
really?
was the phoenix.
How about Snag?
Snag was the reptilian thing.
Yes.
The cobra monster.
Why would they be punching their mic?
That's James because he keeps moving his combination camera/mic.
I'm not. It's been on my stomach this entire time.
Just because you're using a phone.
No, I'm using a laptop.
Oh. Oh. Huh.
Laptop.
Do you want me to mute myself? Because
no, it's okay.
that's what I did for the first hour.
Hey. let's talk about Dong Hee.
Dongy.
I'm sorry, his name is Dong, and then Hee. Dong Hee.
I'm not gonna comment on that one.
An elder among the silent dragons.
Oh yeah, supporting characters.
I don't know why they would give him the first name Dong. That's rather suggestive. Look, it's the mighty dragon Dong.
Oh dear.
All right, I think we've digressed enough into insanity with the topics. Why don't we move on to our normal segments? Because if I don't stop things now, it's going to keep going for forever. Forever. All right. Hey, that was great normal topics. Let's move on to our stories from the table. Our segment where we have guests in general share with us stories from their gaming table, whatever kind of story they want to take. I like to have new guests share one, but... so let's have Matt and James, since you've been forever, I'll have you share one too, if he's actually paying attention. But we'll start with Matt. Why don't you share something? You said you had an interesting story that was tabletop adjacent, and I can accept it because I'm boss around here. Go ahead.
First of all, I don't know how you run, but the one story definitely involves an F-bomb. So I don't know if you censor these things. Do you want?
I don't try to curse myself, but if something happens, I don't really care too much.
It happens on occasion.
We've talked about weird crap that's just a little too adult sometimes. So...
And remember, I just said, look at that mighty dragon, Dong.
I'll adjust it. I'll adjust it slightly.
With Joe here, I can never get away with truly PG. It always at least skims PG-13 and sometimes heads towards R.
You can tell the story as it is, and I will anticipate when the F-bomb is coming and just make a really loud beeping sound, okay?
Oh, I'll just say F, not the actual word. As I discovered...
Beep. Oh, sorry.
When I got into the Magic universe, I didn't really realize that it seems that there is no middle ground with Jace. People either really, really like him or really, really hate him. So I wasn't quite prepared for that when I went to Dragon Con. That's where that's like our big thing of the year is Dragon Con. It's the one time we're not overly stressed out. We just go, we just have fun, relax. And I had taken that costume down there, and as we're going along here, there, and everywhere, it's funny when you're in costume. Sometimes people think that like your ears don't work anymore when you're in a costume. So there was one time, Jen, she's my partner. She's like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "No, what?" She goes, one guy walked by and he goes, "Man, I really effing hate Jace. That's a really good costume." But so I would get that every now and then. People always come up to me and go, "Hey, what am I thinking?" And I'm like, "I don't know." It's like, they'll hold up card. I've got a deck of cards. What card am I holding? I'm like, "I don't know. Whatever the one I say it is." But the one that really just cracked me up more than anything, and it seems innocuous, but I went out to an event with a buddy of mine, and we I think it was the aquarium. They do an aquarium thing every year, which if you end up going to, I don't know if I put it on our costuming page one night, but I got hammered as Jace one night. And there's a picture of me lying on a shag rug, doing one of these, draw me like one of your French planeswalkers poses. It's really bad. But anyhow,
draw me like one of your magical ladies.
Oh, it's bad. But my buddy and I got off this bus coming back from an event, and we started walking towards the gaming hall. We get to the corner of the street, and we're waiting to, for the crosswalk to come on, so we can cross. And there's a group of people there. I'd say they had to be like maybe early 20s. And for the record, when I said I'm old, Yeah, I'm old. I'm in my mid-40s. And the light changes, and we start walking across the street, and this one woman, halfway across, goes, "Hey, Jace!" I turn around, and she just goes, "F you!" It's like, okay, well, I know where I stand with this person, so I just turn, I bow, nod, and just keep going on my way. I'm going, well, there you go. That's about it. That's what my life is like in that costume. But man, that was about the least expected thing I thought was going to come out of that person's mouth. I mean, and like I said, it wasn't like a conversation. I mean, she screamed it at me.
Well, Matt, if it makes you feel any better, I used to do a lot of Star Trek conventions. And the one year I did an interesting costume. In DS9, the character Quark ended up getting with a female Klingon named Grelka. So I did their love child. So half Ferengi, half Klingon. I combined the masks and everything, did the makeup. It looked really convincing. And I'm walking down the hall at the convention, and this group of Klingons come up to me. And they're looking at me like, "What the hell are you?" I'm like, "I'm Quark and Grelka's love child." And the one looks at the other one and goes, "Looks like something that should have been aborted."
Oh, dear.
So at least they didn't ask you to be aborted.
Yes, there is that. So there's my little story.
Hey, James, you got something you want to share today, or not bother?
What do you mean? I always bother.
Then bother us, sir. Bother us.
Yeah, we haven't had you on for since episode 5 or something ridiculously early like that. So come on.
See, okay, so my character in this game, it was we were playing D&D 3.5, I believe, and this was the game where none of us really knew the rules, so we were just kind of doing stuff. So I was a half-dragon fighter at the same level as everybody else, and we picked up this guy with big feet and big hairy feet, and he was this really tall person. So none of us actually knew what he was at the time, and so he was just following us along. And the paladin character just decided to take it upon himself to protect this guy. And so one of the other guys starts picking on the guy, jabbing him in the stomach and stuff like that. And the paladin was getting really upset. And so I remember I used this opportunity to get on my soapbox, go on this long spiel about how we shouldn't harm people that aren't bothering us. And then I attempted to intimidate my other friend by gesturing my sword at him, and I rolled a critical fumble. So my friend said the sword came out of my scabbard, through the NPC's neck, and off with his head.
Oh, God.
So I spent the rest of that game running from the paladin.
That's not a way to get ahead in the world.
Oh, God. Oh.
That's something to lose your head about.
Alright, you're done.
Alright,
Thank you. Those are, I have to say, are due to the movie 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag.
Ooh.
That's where I got those head jokes from.
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
I could keep going.
Alright, why don't we move on to our final segment. The last segment I like to do is do sort of a Q&A kind of segment called Gaming Sage Advice, where if anyone in our audience has a question, a guest has a question, or I could ask a question, some kind of discussion type question that we can ask to the ages and sort of answer in order to help everybody, you know, give a little advice to your gaming tables. So should you have anybody in chat, go ahead and spam something now if you have something. As for any guests, if they have anything, please let me know now. Anybody?
What is the meaning to life, universe, and everything?
42.
Thank you.
Oh, look, Feline, if you have a question, even if it's not really helpful, I am willing to. We're willing to answer it here. We're kind of like good folks here.
I'm not, actually.
Well, no, James isn't, but he tries his best to be James.
Thank you, chat, for 42 as well.
Alright, so Matt, not you, Matt, the other Matt. I have a question for you. You said you like Junkrat. Is that your Overwatch main, or do you have a different one?
I would say, even though I'm awful at comp, in comp I play more support. You know, just because most people, you know, shy away from it. But if you give me my druthers in like quick play, I'll main Junkrat or Zarya.
All right.
I love Zarya. I don't know. It's a toss up between the two of them because there's not much I enjoy more. Like if something gets hooked or someone gets pinned by Reinhardt and you just pop that bubble on them and then you just rampage afterwards. That I love it.
Okay. All right. Cool. But that was not the question I was looking for. But I don't know where to go after that one. Thank you, James.
Well, to be fair,
Feline said they had a question.
Yeah. He was interested in possibly being a guest on the show. He says.
Oh, that was the question. Never mind.
Or how many rows of some man walk down?
42. Before you can call him a man. 42.
Oh, it's always 42.
Well, that's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
from
movie.
Hitchhiker blah 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 blah. English, and I know this.
English,
and I'm bad at English, but that's besides the point. Wow, failure at English, so many levels.
So I can handle this question.
Go ahead. If you want to ask anything, if it's sort of on topic, go ahead. Just ask whatever question. Yeah.
But if you remember, Dracovin, you challenged me to make your segment about Overwatch, and I'd consider this job done.
I totally did say that like a couple weeks ago. Or was it this? No, it was a couple weeks ago when we were talking about having you on. Yeah, what's meaning life for you if each of you had to give a real reason? Oh, wow. That is an interesting, sort of on-topic question, yet also vaguely enough that it's interesting. For me, just the meaning of life is to make the best out of ourselves and have some fun along the way. I kind of feel like that's what I always try to do. It's why I started doing work on here on Twitch and my YouTube channel. So, you know, it's a lot of the reason I do a lot of the content on my YouTube channel, which is, it seems sparse and like crazily different because there's like so many different shows I have, but it's all stuff I love.
That's how his mind works.
I know, it's insane. That's why I make a good GM.
I would say, personally, I don't believe there's a real afterlife. So to enjoy yourself as much as possible and also make other people happy.
Thumbs up. Anybody else want to try to answer this question of the ages?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably along the same path, but it's enjoy what you have. Enjoy other people out there. I've gotten it's funny as I've gotten older. Some of the the traditional wisdom says as you get older, if you're young and you're not liberal, there's something wrong with you. If you're older and not conservative, there's something wrong with you. That whole thing. But I don't believe in the way that comes off. It's just taking another movie. Be nice to each other. Let's enjoy what we've got. Enjoy who we are. Celebrate who we are and try and make this place a little bit better than than when we left, when we got here, make it nicer than when you got here, kind of thing. It's like just go something along those lines.
Nice.
James, what does your young wisdom tell you?
Like, I really like thinking about how we got here. Just thinking about all the people that had to innovate and create all of these different things so that I could sit here on a Saturday afternoon, a laptop on my stomach, birds chirping, internet, all that stuff. So basically, I like the idea of making this world better than when you came into it, kind of like what Matt said. So that's why I got into my profession of, like, I'm an accountant. I like to work with numbers, and if I can help somebody out, like save a little bit of money or make sure they don't go to jail for tax fraud, I consider that a good day.
Now the question is, can you account for yourself?
No.
Well, I mean, this is not the direction I saw this show ending up at, but sure, we went into some, like, philosophy here at the end, because you know what?
Because we're random and we love it.
We're random, and it's always about some kind of tabletop somewhere down the line. You know, somewhere in there's that core of tabletop, and then after that, it's off the table. You know, it's off the table. But
now the question is, as one of your favorite characters, how would you answer the question? No.
Oh God, no!
How would your giant Spider-Man answer the question, Matt?
my Drider, which wanted to eat a horse that you owned. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
God, yeah.
How would you answer this question?
Loth, and the blood of the innocents, or something. I was an evil character, okay? Probably
to make everyone's life worse.
Taking off on what feline is, so being obsessed with questions like this. Every now and then, I think we all come up with something that you look at and go, well, why did I think of that? And one thing that I commonly think of, one thing I love pictures of, like, abandoned, places, like abandoned amusement parks or, cities, like, the pictures of Chernobyl and the Fallout Zone, just, stuff like that, is just mind bending to me. And every now and then you come across places and you go, I wonder when the last time a human was actually in this, in this spot. Like, if you're walking through a building and you come across a part that, is less, frequented by people, like in a convention center or whatnot, and go, when was the last time someone was standing, like, right here and, or touched this wall or was in this crawl space or, I don't know why, but that absolutely blows my mind and fascinates me to no end.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I think this has been a great show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to my guests. Why don't we go around? I'll start with you, Matt, if you want to, like, pimp out anything, so to say. I don't know why I used the word pimping, but I just came up with it, and I've stuck with it since.
No worries.
Because you're such a pimp, Matt.
I know. Apparently I am.
If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at ScrapperFerret. My partner Jen and I, we have our costuming page on Facebook, which is Jackal Costuming. You should be able to look that up pretty easily, so you can see some of the stuff that we do and places that we go.
Cool. James, do you have anything you want to actually pimp out? I don't know if you do.
I do. If you ever need accountant help, I'm available. Also, I just got done my placement matches. I'm at like a 2200, so a gold range on Xbox One. So if you want to play with me, come find me.
Cool.
And James is the mightiest pimp of all.
I know who Feline is now. Sorry, I just kind of interjected with that.
And remember, James is the biggest pimp of all.
Mm-hmm.
We all salute him with our pimp cups.
Okay, and Joe, how about you?
I just pimp you. Stand on that street corner. Join us tomorrow for Legends of the Lost Legion.
Treasure.
I believe we're Treasure.
You never get it right.
Legends of the Hidden Temple of the Lost Legion. I believe we're doing it at 4 again tomorrow.
Yep, our D&D stream will be at 4 o'clock tomorrow. It'll be you, Frank, and Rachel back here again.
And I am not a child.
Wait. There we go.
And for more weird, wacky fun with that, with gnomes crawling into floating islands in the sky, and gnomes and cat people running into bathrooms together.
Wait.
And a dwarf calling me a child.
I got commands for all your characters.
I know.
Wonderful. All right. As for me, as usual, you can find me here tomorrow. You can find me here next week, where we have a couple more guests already lined up. And it's going to be another exciting one, especially with GP Vegas coming up. We'll probably talk a bunch about that, some other tabletop-related topics as they come up. We'll see. There was the stream of Annihilation for Dungeons and Dragons yesterday and today, so we'll probably talk a lot about that also. So there's going to be 2 big topics next week to have, with GP Vegas right on the cusp, and the stream of Annihilation. It's going to be kind of insane. So that's going to be an interesting one, too. We're also, again, Treasure Lost Legion tomorrow. I have gaming streams, at least on Sunday and Monday. It should be working out fine. I'll be back then. All the normal videos up on my channel, etc., etc. If you want to check anything there, go ahead. A lot of introductory stuff for when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons. And if you're interested on my Magic side, for the new people watching, that would be my Magic History series and my world setting videos, where I take like a topic from the world setting and introduce it to you. So,
yep,
a lot of interesting stuff to plug, and I hope everyone has a great weekend and a great rest of the day, and we'll see you all. Well, me and Joe will see you all next week, and hopefully maybe sometime we can have Matt and James back on. Maybe together, maybe not. Who knows?
Yay.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.